Hailstorm, yeah.
Well, you have a hailstorm every year, then.
Bite your tongue, Nelson. They say the only way to truly break a drought in this country is schedule Nebraska land days.
That seems to be kind of on par.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Good news is if it happens during the rodeo, the ranchers are happy with me. People are ticked if it happens during a concert.
Right. But it seems like it's during the concert, not during.
Not this year.
This is the year.
The legend of the Christmas tree cakes is coming through again this year.
29.
Look at there. All right, let's bring the April 25th, 2023 North Platte Planning Commission meeting to order. Judy, roll call.
Davies.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Matthews.
Here.
Bain.
Here.
Weber. Fudge.
Here.
Jett.
Here.
Forbes.
Here.
And Whirl.
Here.
A quorum is present.
A current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted at the back by the door, and the agendas are back there as well if you need one of those. Item number 2 on the agenda, approval of minutes from the meeting held on March 28th, 2023. Everybody had a chance to review those? Anybody have?
Approved minutes?
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Davies to approve as presented. Michelle? Get them out. Everybody get organized. And the minutes are approved. All right. Here we go. File number SU 23-007, discuss and consider action on an application by North Platte Area Habitat for Humanity for Habitat 7th replat located at 1411 and 1421 East 2nd Street on property described as Lot 2 and Lot 3 of Wyman's First Subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and you should have all received a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is a preliminary and final plat. The subdivision will split 2 lots into 4 lots in an R2 dwelling district. According to the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Section 155.093D, the depth of lot shall be no more than 3 times the width of the lot at the building line. The subdivision is proposed to create 3 lots that will not meet this requirement. So the 3 lots measure 50 foot by 155 feet and will require Planning Commission to allow a variance to the depth of the lot in order to approve the proposed subdivision. City water and sewer are available to service the proposed lots. Planning staff has no objection to approval of Habitat 7th replat if the variance to the depth of lot is approved. With variance approval, the proposed subdivision meets zoning and subdivision regulations.
So, dumb question. Are these lots as wide or are they narrower, or how do they relate to the ones like over on, what is it, 20th or 21st?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but these are decently sized lots. Most lots average about anywhere from 55 to 66 foot in width. We do have some smaller lots. They're about 44. Habitat tends to be a little bit smaller, so this 50 foot in width is pretty average.
So the variance is they're 5 feet too long,
Correct.
correct? Okay,
Yep.
5.02, 5.03,
okay.
just a little bit longer than the 150.
Right, correct.
Real no
And the one on
effect
the
to
corner,
anything.
meets because it's
Got a
60
way.
68 foot wide.
Right.
Which the one on the corner really needs to be because there's an increased setback on the
Setback for the
street.
corner.
Yep. 2 and 3. Well, 1, 2, and 3
1, 2,
look,
and 3,
yeah,
yeah.
look a little skinny, so.
Didn't they already start building on these?
Well, they had 2 lots, so they could technically build on 2 lots. So they built on the first lot, and then what would be the second lot, lot 2.
It's like I could have
Lot
sworn
4
I
and
saw
lot
a house going up
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, lot 4 and lot 2. So Technically, they could do that because those two lots were existing, but they couldn't build on lot 1 or lot 3.
Other discussion?
I move to approve file number SU 23-007 preliminary and final approval of Habitat 7-3 plat with a variance to section 155.093, depth of lot.
Second.
Motion by Jet, seconded by Davies to approve. Any other discussion on this one? If not, Michelle? And that is approved. Item number 4 on the agenda, file number SU 23-008, discuss and consider action on an application by James Hassett for Hassett Third Replat located at 808 Rodeo Road on property described as Lot 1, Hassett Replat, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and again, you should have all received a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is a site plan of the current existing buildings and a preliminary and final plat. This subdivision will split one lot into 2 lots. This is located in a B2 highway commercial district. An access and utility easement will be required running north and south through the property to allow both lots access to water, sewer, and other utilities. Planning staff would like the property owner to be aware that additional easements may be needed if other utilities are outside the proposed utility easement. With the access and utility easement in place, city water and sewer would be available to service the proposed lots. Planning staff has no objections to the proposed subdivision as it meets zoning and subdivision regulations. What they are wanting to do is split the garage or storage building from the house. The owner is wanting to sell the house but retain the storage building. Where it is in a commercial district, that storage building is allowed to be on its own separate lot. The house would be considered a non-conforming use in a commercial district. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to.
Does that easement have to go clear through, or does it just go back to that lot too?
Yes, the easement has to go clear through. It is on the final, the
Yeah, that's what I
preliminary,
was
it's
gonna say,
not.
it's on
but-
the final, it's just
Yeah,
not on the other two.
it does have to go clear through because sewer is in the alley and water is in the rodeo road.
That's what I was
So in
wondering.
order to service the north or the south lot with one or the other, it has to go all the way through. Probably not the ideal situation, but
It's not like they're gonna build anything different there, and it's been a drive through there continuously for so long, so.
Any other discussion on this one?
I move to approve file number SU 23-008 preliminary and final approval of Hassett Third Replat.
Second.
Motion by Davies, seconded by Jet to approve the replat. Any other discussion? If not, Michelle? And the motion is approved. Item number 5 on tonight's agenda, file number SU 23-010, discuss and consider action on an application by the Development Corporation of North Platte for Iron Trail Second Subdivision located at 2001 East State Farm Road on property described as part of the southeast quarter of Section 15, Township 13 North, Range 30 West of the 6th Prime Meridian, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
okay, and again, you should have all received a copy of the review comments, a preliminary and a final plat. And then attached to the very back is just a schematic drawing of future roads possible for that area. We don't like to create roads that have dead ends, which does happen with a couple of these roads here, so we want to kind of see future planning where these roads would hopefully extend in the future. The subdivision will create 5 lots and create two new city streets, which is Iron Trail Drive and Slough Drive, in an I-1 light industrial districts. The streets will be dedicated to the city of North Platte for public use. Proposed lot number 2 is very, very tiny and it's very hard to see. It's an existing irrigation well that will be used to irrigate the agricultural property to the west. So there is an easement following along the south side of that lot 1 to allow that irrigation well to be used for the west property. North Platte City Code of Ordinances does not specify a size of lot in the I-1 Industrial District, therefore the 20-foot by 20-foot lot does meet subdivision and zoning regulations. Once infrastructure improvements are in place, city water and sewer will be available to service the proposed lots. Planning staff has no objection to approval of Iron Trail Second Subdivision. The proposed subdivision meets zoning and subdivision regulations. If you have any questions, Gary is here. He can probably answer those. I will try my best to answer any of them also.
Discussion amongst ourselves. All are quiet tonight. If not, there's a motion there.
I move to approve file number SU 23-010 for preliminary and final approval of Iron Trail Second Subdivision.
I'll second.
Motion by Davies, seconded by Matthews to approve. Any discussion? Thank you. And that's approved as well.
And I forgot to tell everyone, these will all go to the May 2nd city council meeting for final approval.
Okay, item number 6 is a public hearing, discuss and consider action on annexation into the corporate limits of the city of North Platte, parcel ID number 0053626.50, described as lots 3 and 4, section 10, township 13 north, range 30 west of the 6th prime meridian, Lincoln County, Nebraska, consisting of approximately 65.03 acres. Judy.
Okay, and you should have all received a location map to give you the general location of where this proposed annexation is. And there's also a letter from the property owner requesting annexation that's attached. Planning staff has no objection to the proposed annexation. The annexation meets the requirements in Nebraska state statute and will be of benefit to the city of North Platte's future growth and development. Water and sewer services to the area currently exist. Property within city limits have easier access to different types of funding opportunities, making annexation of this area a win for future development. If you have any questions, I will more than gladly try to answer those for you.
Okay, this is a public hearing, number 1 of 4 tonight, so I'm going to give you the guidelines now, and they'll apply across the board. We value your input, want to hear from you. Anyone wishing to speak must be first recognized by the chair. Once recognized, please approach the podium, state your name and address. Please keep your comments brief and to the point. And if it gets repetitive, excessively long, or the like, I get grouchy. Public hearing's open. Anybody want to come up on this one? Going once. Going twice. Need a motion to close the public hearing then.
I'll motion to close the public hearing.
I'm going to give it to Schilling first, and anybody want a second?
I would like to second.
Thank you, Emily. Motion by Schilling, seconded by Whirl to close the public hearing. Michelle? And the public hearing is closed. Now then, any discussion amongst ourselves on this one? Fairly straightforward since the property owner wants in.
This is on the east side of the canal, right behind the
Correct.
college.
Yes.
I move to make a recommendation to annex parcel ID number 0053626.50, described as lots 3 and 4, section 10, township 13 north, range 30 west of the 6th prime meridian, Lincoln County, Nebraska, into the corporate limits of the city of North Platte.
Second.
Just trading spots. Motion by Whirl, seconded by Schilling to recommend approval. Any more discussion? Not. And the motion is approved. Item number 7, discuss and consider action on annexation to the corporate limits of the city of North Platte parcel ID number 0053626.00, described as Part 5 of Lot 3, Section 10, Township 13 North, Range 30 West of the 6th Prime Meridian, Lincoln County, Nebraska, consisting of approximately 8.93 acres. Judy.
Okay, again, you should have all received a copy of the review comments, a location map, and then an email from Brian Hope with NPPD. We had a conversation via email regarding annexation of this property. Annexation of this property is necessary to provide better police protection in the area. Currently, the north portion of the canal is outside city limits, making law enforcement jurisdiction a county sheriff issue. By annexing this portion of the canal, the property will be in the city police department jurisdiction, which will provide both the city sheriff's office and the city police department clear jurisdictional boundary. Planning staff has no objections to the proposed annexation. The annexation meets the requirements in Nebraska state statute and will be a benefit to the city of North Platte's future growth and development as it pertains to police protection. This one, I will tell you, I did reach out to NPPD once the property to the east requested annexation, because there have been issues in that area with law enforcement. And I was approached by the chief of police to actually see if we could get this annexed. So I figured this was a really good time. I reached out to NPPD and they had no problem with it, so.
Okay, again, this is a public hearing, same rules and regs kind of apply. And with that, the public hearing is open. If anybody would like to speak on this one, let me know. Well, I thought this group was quiet tonight. Going once, going twice.
I move to close the public hearing. Yes.
Second.
Lee, was that you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion by Matthews, seconded by Davies to close the public hearing. Shall? And the public hearing is closed. So no real pushback on this one either, and some gentle encouragement.
So the parcel to the west is not in city limits?
A portion of the parcel to the west, if you look on that, the last map, it shows city limits, and my drawing is pretty pathetic, but the city limits, part of it to the west is, and the part in the north is actually just accretion ground. So I'm going to approach that property owner too at a later date and try to bring that
So
accretion
the
ground.
city limits do go,
It's that little red dotted dashed line.
So it's
That's
pretty
right.
much, for the most part, in, except.
Yeah,
for
for the most part it's
accretion
in.
ground.
Yep, just for the accretion ground.
so
that
it
is not.
runs right behind Calhoun's and the water slide and all that?
Yep, yep. They're all in city limits. Yep.
Any other discussion?
I move to make a recommendation to annex ID number 0053626.00, described as part of the Lot 3, Section 10, Township 13 North, Range 30 West of the 6th Prime Meridian, Lincoln County, Nebraska, into the corporate city limits of North Platte.
Motion by Davies, seconded by Whirl to make a recommendation to annex. Any other discussion? If not, and that motion is approved. Okay, item number 8, public hearing, file number Z 23-003, discuss and consider action on an application by Sharon and Pamela Bourne, owner, and Jared and Melanie O'Keefe, purchaser, to rezone certain property from an A1 transitional district to an R3 dwelling district located at 4114 Victoria Lane on property described as a tract of land in the southeast quarter of Section 16, Township 13 North, Range 30 West of the 6th Prime Meridian, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, items number 8 and 9, which is the rezoning and the subdivision, do involve the same property. You can discuss them together if you'd like. If item number 8, which is the rezoning, is not approved, then we will have to pull item number 9 from the agenda. In order to rezone a property, it's the duty of the Planning Commission to ensure that the rezoning is in conformance with the current comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan was amended in 2020 to allow for the residential development in the area, therefore the rezoning is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. A copy of the proposed zone change is attached. The applicants are requesting the zone change to allow the current homeowner at 4114 Victoria Lane to purchase an additional 3.62 acres. That zone change will take effect when the Ponderosa second subdivision is filed at the courthouse. Planning staff has no objections to the rezoning. It will not be a detriment to the surrounding area. I don't see that the property owner is in the audience, but I will be happy to answer any questions if I can.
Okay, once again, this is a public hearing, so if anybody would like to comment on that, please let me know and you can come on up.
Oh, man, we were flying through.
I'll be real short.
Name and
Brandon Jones, 800 Lake Drive, representing MGP Enterprises and Beverage Incorporated. MGP would be the property owner to the north, Beverage Incorporated would be the tenant to the north of this property. I guess we just want the purchaser to realize that the north property is zoned I-2 and it does have a conditional use permit for its activities, so that is all.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to visit on this one? Going once and twice.
Make a move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Jet to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that? If not, please vote. Okey doke, now the group will talk amongst itself. Any discussion on this one?
Is there still plans of the remaining portion of that to be developed?
From what I understand, and I don't know that anything is final, the remaining property is in the process of being sold to someone to develop. I'm not sure what, they have not divulged that information. But yes, there's plans for it to be developed.
Wouldn't that have something to do with what this should be zoned?
Well, the reason I kind of suggested the R3 is that lot 1, where the current house is zoned R3. And so to be consistent, that's why I suggested that that portion be zoned R3. The remaining portion is all A1. So whatever they plan to do with that property, unless it's agricultural development, they will have to be back here rezoning it to something. I'm assuming residential, but I cannot tell you that.
I guess that was my concern was, if we're gonna have an R3 there, you'd think it would make sense to make the whole thing at the same time, but
That was kind of what caught my attention too.
And that I felt the R3 kind of gave, you know, if somebody was gonna do residential development there, that does give them the biggest
some opportunity
opportunity instead
right.
of going with an RL, which is a suburban residential. This R3 does give them maximum opportunity to do, you know, single-family duplex or apartment.
And the R3 allows how many units?
The R3, apartments you can do,
As many as you want, basically, in an R3?
yep. You have to make sure you have enough parking, but yeah.
Right. And everything else fits?
But given the proximity to the home and its relative location, it would seem to me they'd probably be buying this up so it wouldn't be developed.
Yeah, the current property owner wanted to purchase this additional property to provide himself with a buffer.
Yeah. Other questions? Not, would entertain a motion?
I move to approve file number Z 23-003 to rezone certain land from an A1 transitional ag district to an R3 dwelling district on property located at 4114 Victoria Lane.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Davies to approve. Any more discussion on this one? If not, Michelle? And that motion is approved, which means we can take up item number 9, file number SU 23-011, discuss and consider action on an application by Sharon Bourne and Pamela Bourne, owner, and Jared and Melanie O'Keefe, purchaser, for Ponderosa Second Subdivision located at 4114 Victoria Lane on property described as Lot 1 Ponderosa First Subdivision and part of the east half southeast quarter of Section 16, Township 13, North, Range 30 west of the 6th Prime Meridian, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska.
So this subdivision will reconfigure 2 lots in an R3 dwelling district. The proposed lots do have access to city water and sewer. Planning staff has no objection to approval of Ponderosa Second Subdivision if the rezoning has been approved. And with the rezoning being approved, the subdivision meets zoning and subdivision regulations. Attached to this, you should have an existing home site and then the addition of the 3.62 acres to the current 1 acre lot that's out there. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Okay, discussion on this one? Not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve file number SU 23-011 for preliminary and final approval of Ponderosa Second Subdivision.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Davies to approve. Any more discussion? Not, Michelle? And that is approved. Okey doke, since everybody's been quiet up to this point, I'm assuming you're all here for this. File number 10, public hearing, discuss and consider action on a resolution regarding the City of North Platte amended redevelopment plan for Phase 2 of the Lakeview Apartments development on property described as Lot 1 and Lot 2, Lakeview First Administrative Subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, pursuant to the Nebraska Community Development Law. Judy.
Okay, and you should have all received, again, a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is a resolution that, if this is approved, will be signed by the chair. Attached to that is the amended proposed redevelopment plan. The City of North Platte Planning Commission's responsibility in the redevelopment process is to take public comment on whether the real estate described is in conformance with the City of North Platte's comprehensive plan, and if the project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations and is an overall fit for the development of the city. The following statements should be considered and confirmed. The property as presented is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. The property is in conformance with the current City of North Platte comprehensive plan. The project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations, and that the development of this property to its full potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and the entire region. The principal purpose of a comprehensive plan is to provide basic policies to guide the many activities of the city. It is used to help determine investment priorities and guide public and private development. At the same time, a comprehensive plan must be flexible in order to address changing conditions and respond to new situations that cannot be foreseen at the time of adoption. One goal of the current city comprehensive plan is to create sufficient housing stock to provide safe choices and options for types of units and by cost. Sufficient housing stock and options is obtained by redeveloping underutilized land with a mix of land uses that encourage new housing options, neighborhood services, and a variety of transportation options, which include sidewalks, paths, trails, and roads. Reducing the number of substandard housing units in its community. Creating alternative housing options, such as senior housing or low to moderate income housing, providing incentives such as density bonuses for redevelopment of areas with substandard housing stock into affordable, safe housing, including housing programs that encourage construction of multifamily rental units, affirm and support fair housing practices in North Platte, and preparing for future growth by extending city infrastructure to areas targeted for development. As presented in the redevelopment plan, the project entails construction of 15 apartment buildings each with 8 units. Each building will cover approximately 8,500 square feet. In addition, 60 garages will be built on site. The project is intended to provide workforce housing as identified in Section 18-210432 of the Act, and each rental unit costing less than $200,000. The plan is intended to comply with any workforce housing incentive plan approved by the City of North Platte City Council. The proposed apartments are designed to be attractive to new residents considering relocation to the City of North Platte, and specifically designed to meet the needs of today's working families. Planning staff recommends approval of the City of North Platte amended redevelopment plan for Phase 2 of the Lakeview Apartments development and passage of the attached resolution. The redevelopment plan is in conformance with the North Platte, Nebraska City Comprehensive Plan 2011 and meets or will meet current City of North Platte subdivision and zoning regulations, and the property is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. The area is appropriate for residential development. The area is surrounded by a mix of single-family, duplex, and multifamily dwellings. The proposed residential development is in a good location and is a good fit for the area and for the growth and development of the City of North Platte. Again, a copy of the redevelopment plan is attached, and if you have any questions, I do think the applicant is here, and I would also be happy to answer any that you may have.
All right, this is a public hearing. Again, a reminder, if you'd like to speak, let me know. I'll recognize you. You can come up, give me your name and address, and we'd love to hear from you. So with that, the public hearing is open. Come on up.
Thank you. My name is Brian Riley. I'm from Omaha. I'm with DP Management. We're the development company that is building Phase 2. We also built Phase 1. That's 80 units that is fully occupied right now. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Appreciate you guys taking the time to look at this.
Brian, as I look at your map, there's some of these units in blue and some of them in gold. Is it kind of a phased?
Could I take a peek? I don't think I've got what you've got. I don't think that that's any
Okay.
distinction other than lots. Originally, we had redesigned, we originally were going to go 80. We thought about doing a phase of 40. Now we're expanding it to 120. So
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. The blue is a separate lot, and then the gold area is another lot. We subdivided that
Perfect.
several months back into 2 different lots.
Any questions for Brian? Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Anybody else like to visit on this?
Gary Pearson, President of North Platte Area Chamber and Development Corporation. Chamber's located at 502 South Dewey. Just wanted to add our support to the project and also to tell the Planning Commission this is a case in point of how a lengthy process it is, and sometimes very frustrating process to build housing in North Platte. The Chamber and Development Corporation identified this particular area as a good place to grow the housing stock in North Platte. Back in 2014, they commissioned a redevelopment study to be done. When I was hired in 2015, one of the first tasks they gave me was to walk this through the city public process of getting the area determined blighted and substandard. It met all the qualifications. We went through all the public hearings, got approval of that. That is then the city's invitation to developers that come develop with us. You know, we can help you with the challenging infrastructure costs to get this done. We reached out to 3 different housing developers, worked in earnest with 2 of those in lengthy timelines through multiple hundreds of hours of meetings, and some of those very public, and trying to get those developments move forward. In the end, both of those developers decided they just couldn't pull the trigger and do it. And part of it was because of the challenging costs. At that point, we started working with DP Properties. We had great familiarity with their company who managed the mall at the time. And they had a relationship already built with North Platte. They had done apartments in other communities, and we began in earnest working with them, trying to go down this path to do development. They were part of our Shot in the Arm Rural Workforce Housing Fund program through the first phase. They're evidence of the exceptional work they do and the exceptional developments they bring to the community. You can just walk through them. The open house they had and the ribbon cutting was just phenomenal. The residents there are some of their best ambassadors. So what a great place that is with all the different amenities they have. And as we continue down the path of creating more and more potential jobs coming in North Platte, those are now becoming reality. We basically begged Brian's group to move forward on another phase that they had intended to do at some point. We started down that path, and then they ran into some more obstacles, losing a very valued part of their team and one of their investors. We were able to help them put that financial package back together, which brings us to tonight. And my point is, this is 9 years later after we started down this path. That's how challenging housing is for all communities, but I think especially in North Platte, who had fell behind considerably its peer communities in addressing housing needs. So it's been a long journey. We did a housing study in the interim part of that to further validate it, and we would ask you to consider all the effort that's went into this. You've been great in the way that you approached all of our development projects, and the way that you're very pro-development. We appreciate that attitude very much. We thank you for your service, and we need this in the worst sort of way. So thank you.
Any questions for Gary? Anybody else want to address the group on this one?
Make a move, we close the public hearing.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Davies, close the public hearing. Michelle? And the public hearing is closed. So, in discussions with our city attorney, I think we need to review the 4 points that is our job. The property is, as presented, is located in an area that's been declared blighted and substandard. I think that's pretty obvious. Properties in conformance to the current City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan, that would be fairly obvious. Project meets or will meet subdivision or zoning regulations. It's zoned correctly for this. And the development of this property to its full potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and the entire region. I don't know if there's any arguing that one either. That's my opinion. So. Any other discussion? Oh, go ahead.
Does this just pertain to the residential part of it?
Yes, this redevelopment plan is just for the residential portion. which
There's
is
still
the
commercial
north.
stuff out there,
The what?
commercial lots?
Yeah, those commercial lots are still there. I
Okay.
believe that was part of the original, redevelopment plan. Yep.
And just a curious question also. So basically, we're adding 20 apartment units, correct, to the original plan? And so that means there's just more buildings in the same lot that we're reconsidering, correct?
Well, there's 3 separate lots, so you have, well, more than that actually, but we are adding 2 additional lots that are going to have these
Okay.
15 buildings. There'll
Got
be
it.
7 on one, 8 on the other one.
Okay.
Those lots were subdivided off, gosh, I can't remember when, but probably a year, maybe 2 years ago that we did that.
Okay.
And so that will allow for the development of these other 2 in phases.
Perfect. I love the idea of 3 bedrooms, if that was part of the change too, that's very much needed.
Any other discussion amongst the group? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resolution recommending approval of the City of North Platte amended redevelopment plan for Phase 2 of the Lakeview Apartments Development Plan and approval of related actions.
Forbes. Motion by Jett, seconded by Forbes to approve the resolution. Any other discussion? Gary, thanks for your work on this. Mr. Riley, thank you. Yeah. Mr. Riley, thank you for your company's investment in our community.
Yes, thank you.
Michelle? And the motion is approved.
The next step for this is to go to the Community Redevelopment Authority on Thursday, I believe is when that is scheduled at 9 a.m. And then from there, if it is approved at that point, it will go to the May 2nd, city council meeting.
Good luck. Item number 11, any old business to bring to the table?
I got nothing.
Item number 12, any new business to bring to the table? If not, we are adjourned. I'd be happy to. I suspect you'll have plats for me to sign in the rear in your future. Here, ma'am. Of course, my pleasure.
I know, there's a lot on the agenda.